Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about this one here. It's going to be a big day today here on Sportswire Radio. And I got to be honest, over the past couple of weeks, I have really gotten into this feud here that has certainly taken the CCW universe and certainly turned it upside down on its head. Because this feud, which from my vantage point has been a year in the making, some would say the tables have turned. We're going to find out maybe not so fast. We're going to talk about a Home Alone hardcore match, and we're going to talk about maybe not one, but two men's careers and their destinies are going to change. We're going to talk about now our guest side of the story because you heard what DJB had to say. You certainly heard what Strange had to say, and you heard what Sofrina had to say on Thursday's show. Now we get to hear the Vigilante side of the story. We'll talk about what happened with that Karen cancel video. We'll talk about what has been going on with the Brevs and Strange, and was there a dent? Was there a non-aggression pact? And we'll talk about the future, and we'll talk about, let's say, anything else you want to say, plus who knows, whatever else. We're now in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that our guest and CCW most certainly helped build. And it is now time to give him that introduction because he wants it. And if he doesn't get it, well, let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, I might be in the crosshairs, and I certainly don't want to be in the crosshair like the Brevs, and certainly this Saturday at a Colory Christmas Carol 4. The Strange will be in. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show on the road here on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station. So, with that, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one. Global Sports Show. He is the man that has carried CCW on its back, some would say. He was the CCW World Underground Champion this year. And he is the reigning, defending CCW Carnage Hardcore Champion. He's our locker room leader. His name is simply put, the The champ is here, my friend. How are we doing?
Tom, it is an honour to be back here on Sportswire Radio. It's good to be a part of a show that's unbiased and tells the truth. It tells both sides of the story. So I am delighted to be here. Thank you for having me on.
It's good to have you. It's obviously been a hot skip in a minute, and I think that to me, this has been the feud that has really, again, taken the CCW universe by storm, and there is a lot to talk about, a lot to get into here. I think that this feud is certainly going to come to an end this Saturday, but I have no doubt that both of your careers are going to certainly change, and we'll certainly see what the Strange, let's say, wins will bring us. But let me give it to you like this, and I'm going to introduce it for the audience, and we'll start it here. For those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you and CCW most certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio, the Vigilante, I give you now your side of the story and tell us why we're here this Saturday, Home Alone hardcore match, you and Strange, for that Carnage Hardcore Championship.
It's funny because it may have started before the genius of the ring 2 years ago last year, when Strange knocked me out with a pair of brass knucks, left me lying in a piss-soaked alleyway. But the way I see it was that's not the case, because at the Halloween show, I destroyed the pumpkin over his head. So in my opinion, we were even. And then we got to last year's A Call of a Christmas Carol.
I remember that very well.
Yes, he was meant to be defending his, at the time, CCW Underground Heavyweight Championship in the main event. And he took out his opponent, Dustin Hart, before the match. Now, you know what? Thinking back, I really couldn't care about Dustin's health these days. But back then, yeah, I cared.
You did. I remember it. We spoke about it when you were here at the beginning of the year. Yep.
But the thing that really annoyed me the most, and this is no disrespect to Dustin again at the time, but I was so annoyed that Strange or Prince Dagon or the red-faced demon, whatever he was hiding behind at the time, tried to ruin another main event. He tried to screw the CCW family out of a CCW Underground Heavyweight Championship match. And I was not happy with that. And yeah, I entered myself in the match, and I beat the living hell out of him. And then a 3-4-on-1 attack, I wound up in a dumpster.
Yep.
So you can almost say this is a 1 full year in the making.
That's exactly how I remember it. And I thought it was ironic that Strange was put in a bin and you were put in a dumpster last year. And from last I checked, you guys have been going back and forth, and it's been pretty much even here. And I'm going to ask this question because, a lot has been said about have you changed? A lot has been said about all of a sudden you've had this sudden turn, but I'm going to phrase it in a different way because I've known you a while. I heard you talk on the podcast that you just were on with Sofrina on the Windsor Change. And, I have known you a long time, and I have seen CCW almost since the beginning. Whereas, some people are here and they have maybe come into CCW at a later date, and that's fine and well. But have you changed? Because some would say if they were following this, maybe you really haven't. So do you want to answer that for the audience? Have you changed?
I would like to say no, but unfortunately I have changed. I've changed. And you know what? Maybe it's not for the better.
Why?
Maybe I would like to say that I was the same old jam. However, I had my entrance music everybody loved taken away from me.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to sing it here, but everybody was into it. You'd come out, and you had Jinx, and it was just all fun and games. But it isn't right now.
I get taken away from me. So I was a wee bit annoyed at that. But then as time went on, I kind of realised that I was getting screwed over time and time again. See, after our little run-in at A Call Your Christmas Carol last year, main event, 3 stages of hell, Miners Mania this year. I get my shot at Strange, and I defeat Strange to become the heavyweight champion of CCW, the world's underground heavyweight champion.
It was something for your 20-year career. We spoke about it here earlier in the year. This was something that was to complete your career. You would win through everything, all the odds, and that was something that you were missing. And in your career, if you didn't win the CCW World Underground Championship, I'm not talking to you right now, unfortunately.
I said it back then. I was happy to walk away because in my mind I was like, well, do I really want to hit my 20th anniversary in this business without saying that I was ever a heavyweight champion? No. I would rather...
You talked about your family, and you wanted them to be able to see you at least once as a world champion. You said this here on this platform. Yep,
and I'm glad I got to do that. I got to live that dream. But despite all the issues, I offered Strange my hand, and he turned it down. He challenged me to a death match, and we had a death match. But something changed in that match between Strange and myself. That's when I noticed the change, and I thought, this guy could be the most entertaining wrestler on the roster. Imagine if he was to change and become a better person. And I gave him that advice. And in one ways he did, and I was so proud of him. He's not lying when he said I was proud of him. I was so proud of Strange. And then things started to kind of not feel good. I started to notice a pattern, just like what he did with his previous group when he got loyal subjects to follow him and do everything he said. I started to notice that this is the exact same. It's just sugar-coated to make it look like something nice. I can see the sinister side. And that's when I realized.
Well, I mean, I spoke about it when he was here about 2 weeks ago, and we've seen 3 stages of Dagon pretty much, which is now Strange is one of them. And we've seen him evolve. I saw him when he was in Latin, and we saw him obviously when you were battling with him at the beginning of this year, and now he's this guy who wants to be a hero. But you have said for weeks that you don't buy it. You think it's all an act. You've talked about the Brebs are a cult, and tell me why.
See, in my time in CCW, heck, even before CCW, I have came against and I have stood up against some of the toughest groups in British wrestling. The Sinners, the A-List back at the SWA days, the Syndicate over in SWE, the NAK over in ICW.
I definitely know ICW very well, sure.
Well, I stood up against Chris Renfrew and BT Gunn, the NAK, and I don't mind telling you, I got my head kicked in, but at least I tried. They were causing trouble, and I wanted to put them down. I've seen this all before. And then when I got to CCW, I was a part of a group. I was brought in as part of the Chuckle Crew. But then when I would sit down... I
remember that very well. Yep, I do remember it well.
I would look around, and there was the CWO, there was the Elite Establishment, the original Elite Establishment. There was all these different groups. There was Top Tier. And I realized that, these guys are all trying to gang up, but strength and numbers. And these guys are all trying to play the numbers game. And then, Pandemus. How can we forget Pandemus? Yep. And
right here.
What did Pandemus...
all those groups you've mentioned, they've been here. I talked about it last week. CCW, they're the longest tenured wrestling company to this day that I've covered in 6 years. We've been here for almost 3.5 years now. So I've seen all those groups. Some of them aren't even here and couldn't hang. They couldn't cut the mustard. But yet you did persevere. You continued. You hung on, and that's where you are right now.
See, I thought the Chuckle Crew at the time was just a lot of fun. I didn't think it was about ego. I didn't think it was about taking over. And then as time went on, I realized that I'm nothing more than a sidekick. I'm nothing more than a flunky. And I didn't want to be anyone's flunky. I'm sorry to say, but that was not me. So I was delighted when I got that message saying that the Chuckle Crew is no more. And I made an agreement. I said, I'm always going to have Miss Jinx by my side. I've been friends with Miss Jinx for over 10 years. I helped train Miss Jinx when she first got into the wrestling business. When things were tough in my life, when I lost so many friends, including friends in the wrestling business due to my own demons, one person stuck by me, and that was Miss Jinx. So I'm always going to be happy to have Jinx at ringside. And even through all this, when other people were saying, Jam's bad news, Jinx still walked over to me and said, Jam, I'm on your side. Let's work together here. And I'm happy with that. But I looked at all these groups, these factions, and I realized that they're all trying to play the numbers game. And that's not fair. I want to do this by myself. And by myself, with Jinx by my side, yeah, sure. But in that ring, I became a 2-time Carnage Hardcore champion, a 2-time CCW Underground Heavyweight champion. So I'm not a big fan of all these little groups and gangs getting together in the first place. I didn't like it back then, don't like it now. But the way the Brevs are talking. Tom, if you were a CCW wrestler and you put out a lovely video to talk about your match, if you were a Brev, if you were one of them, they'd all be sharing it, they'd all be reacting, they'd all be commenting. But if the Reverend Tom Bryce was a CCW wrestler who wasn't a Brev, oh, that video would be
I
ignored.
mean,
It would
I've seen
disappear.
some of that here the last couple of weeks. Now that I've been covering CCW once again, but you said something that I'll go back to in a little while, but I have to talk about this video that you posted, which is in the CCW Facebook group. And I really recommend at this point you go subscribe to CCW on YouTube. I've put the link up here. I'll put the YouTube visual up in a second. But this Karen cancel video that you posted at the back of it, at the end of it, the back end of the video, it talks about this whole thing between Strange and Karen Cancel and the Elite. And that certainly surprised a lot of people. And I want to talk to you about that video because I really didn't hear it mentioned that much in the segment you just did on Sofrina's show. And wow, why? Why do you think that this allegedly happened between Strange, Karen Cancel, and the Elite? And that impacts you, sir, because your life was on the line. You could have died that day. I mean, that was just how senselessly attacked you were, beaten at the hands of the Elite. And that impacted your life. That impacted your family. Leave aside your championship. And talk to me about that and what happened and this whole situation you've alleged here between Strange, Karen Cancel, and the Elite.
Well, first of all, the reason why it wasn't mentioned on the Winds of Change is because I wouldn't waste my time talking to a 12-year-old that's got no clue of the wrestling business about adult matters. So I had no interest in talking to Sofrena about that. The other reason was, well, a lot of these shows that CCW are organising, they're all ran by Brevs. There was no way I was going to be able to tell my side of the story without it being changed or twisted to their narrative. So, Tom, I'm happy to tell you about it.
I'd love to know.
Rumble in the Underground. I had my rematch. I was screwed out of the heavyweight championship by Rory Shaw and Cancel Culture Wrestling. My own sister joined Cancel Culture, cost me the match. I lost the championship. But you know what? That was fine. None of the Brevs came to my rescue. No one came to help me. But you know what? That's fine. It's when I got that rematch at Rumble in the Underground. A brutal no disqualification match with Rory Shaw. And again, I lost fair and square. That's fine. And I tried to shake Rory's hand. I tried to be the good sport I've always been. And what did being the nice guy got me? It got me choked out.
And then when that's what it got you.
Yeah. And then when I started to come to, I was being beaten by the Elite establishment. Dustin Hart cracked a Singapore cane over my head. A week or two before it, Rising Star, he did that, split my head open. My head was already burst open in this match with Rory Shaw. And then when I start to come to again, my hair is gone.
I saw, unfortunately.
No one came to rescue me. No one came to help me. None of the Brevs, no Strange, no Spawn, no one. Everyone talks, oh, I was disrespectful, I was just no one. And as I mentioned in that video, I could have died that night. Those men could have ended my career. And what would have happened if I wasn't able to walk? If I wasn't able to look after my daughter, if I wasn't able to stand up, to provide for my family. But that's okay because they can all drink their iron brew. See, I like iron brew as well. Sugar free, obviously, because I'm trying to watch my figure. But those men tried to do horrible things to me, and no one cared. It was barely spoke about. DJB, I will give DJB this. He was disgusted. I could tell when I seen him. He was disgusted. He was shocked. And you know what? If DJB did see it, I'm not even going to blame DJB for that one. Why would DJB jump in against 4 or 5 guys to help me? You know what? DJB gets a pass for this one. But the rest of them should be ashamed of themselves. The rest should be ashamed.
And that certainly includes Strange, because Strange is obviously at the center of this, because that was mentioned by Karen Cancel. And again, you have said you are no cancer culture fan at all. I mean, we've talked about this. You've mentioned this, but it would be seemingly that Strange sort of this was benefiting him. This was benefiting him at all of this. And leave aside your life, this helps him. And this goes back to what you've been saying for weeks now, is that this whole act of him being a hero, it's exactly what it is. It's all an act.
Well, if he was really the hero, where was he that day? You know? He had that brutal match with Spawn just before then. See, if he was really the hero, he would have been up, he would have been ready, he would have been watching to make sure everything was okay. But there's another one for you, Tom. So I know we're skipping ahead a wee bit, but autism is awesome.
Yes.
Jamie Furyk wrestled Johnny Flashback in the main event, and the Elite tried to do the same thing to Johnny Flashback. And the Brevs all turned up to help Flashback. Where were they when I needed them?
And you were the one that was encouraging to Strange. You were the one that was supportive of him. But when you needed it, you needed that support. Nobody was there for you.
Yeah, just because I don't want to be a part of a faction, just because I don't want people to help me win matches, doesn't mean I don't want friends. The thing I loved about CCW is I made such great friends. I honestly could tell you, and Strange was one of them. I straight away I couldn't understand a word he said to me when I first met him, but through Davey Dudes, I was able to I was able to hear what he had to say. And I got along so well.
I had him here. Listen, it's actually people to this day still ask me about, how did you speak to somebody that was translating from Latin? I was like, well, it happened. And yeah, I remember it very well those days, sure.
Speaking of remembering very well, you've got some footage here. I don't know what's going on here.
You talked about here, this moment, right? This is a perfect example. Autism is awesome. And we see the Brevs. They come out to help. But when you needed that help, sir, you didn't get the same from Spawn and Sofrina and Strange, and there they are. And
yeah.
And
here's a wee bit of a bit for you that I'll say that the camera didn't pick up. I was at the DJ booth, I was watching this, and I seen what was happening, and I stood up, and I was like, this is a disgrace. I need to get down there. And as I was going down to help Johnny Flashback, the music hits. They came out to DX's music for some reason, the absolute weirdos, but okay, hunters. But they all came out. I stopped and I just looked and I watched all of this from the DJ booth, or the stairs of the DJ booth, thinking to myself, this is great and all, good for Johnny Flashback, but where was the help when I needed it?
And you're the locker room leader. You've been here a lot longer than Johnny Flashback has been.
Oh, yeah.
You talked about a lot of those groups and different names that they're yesterday's news. They're no longer here, but yet you've been here. Strange even admitted when he was here about 2 weeks ago, he talked about the fact that he did go to you for advice. Guys I've spoke to on and off the air over the years always said, yeah, when he was Jam, now you're the Vigilante, but you were a locker room leader. I always seeked advice to him. He's been around. He's our longest tenured guy. Everybody in the locker room that's been here over the years. I mean, even when Cheesy was here, would always say, yeah, I listen to Jam. I talk to Jam. I mean, so there's no question that you are that guy that everybody agreed on and off the air inside that locker room, that you were a locker room leader. But yet when you needed that help, your life was flashing before your eyes. The Brevs weren't there. And we see Strange hugging Johnny Flashback, and he got a title shot after this. You remember that?
Yeah. Funny that. It's funny, look at this. He gets it.
Yeah, as what you're telling me, it sounds like that because he helped the champion, he got another crack at that World Underground title. So wouldn't that go further on into this whole, let's say, what they would use the term dent between specifically Karen Cancel and Strange?
Yeah, this it seems a bit odd that all of a sudden it wasn't Jamie Furyk wrote it that got a shot. You know, surely Jamie Furyk, who was competing for the belt that night, representing Cancel Culture Wrestling, should have got a rematch. Or maybe another member of Cancel Culture Wrestling should have got a match for that belt. No, it was Strange. And in my opinion, Strange didn't deserve it. Strange lost the Light in the Dark championship opportunity against Persona that night. And why did he lose it? He had Persona in the coffin. I was clapping, I was cheering, I was shouting, "Go on, Strange. Shut the lid, shut the lid." And he turned round to the crowd. And he made that goofy face and he danced about because he was so cocky. And Persona jumped up and Persona put him in that coffin. And then when Persona decided he was going to start pouring petrol over that coffin, I thought to myself, yeah, well, he deserves it. Whatever happens now, he deserves that because, you know, he literally allowed his opponent to get out the casket, to get out the coffin and attack him. Then minutes later, because he wasn't paying attention, him and Walker lost the CCW Tag Team Championships. So how do you go from losing two championships opportunities in one night? How do you go from losing two championship matches to getting an underground heavyweight championship match?
That would sound like, to me, that from what you're telling me, that sounds like what is called a dent. There's a non-aggression pact or some agreement between certain people in CCW, which allowed Strange to get another opportunity. And yet here we are, and Strange has yet another championship opportunity, and it's for your championship. So it seems to me like we're rewarding those who lose to get opportunities. So it sounds like to me that is things rigged and stacked against those that aren't Brev members from what you're telling me?
It's what it seems to be. And again, when that video was sent to me, I don't know this person. I couldn't recognize the email. I asked them who they were. They didn't respond. I watched the video. I listened to what the video had to say. And I thought to myself, this makes a lot of sense. It wasn't just a case of, oh, maybe they were busy. Maybe they weren't paying attention. Maybe they were off doing their own thing. Maybe this was all set up.
Well, it would sound like that things would be rigged against you and other non-Brev members. If that's from what you're telling me, based on all of this, that's what that would mean. Unless there's something I'm missing. I don't know. You tell me. I've known you a while. I mean, is there something I'm missing?
I think that's exactly it, to be honest with you, Tom. I feel like if there was, why Strange be given these opportunities? Why in this video was Karen and Strange talking? Now, Strange said to me, I couldn't have worked with Karen. What about the beating she arranged me to receive a few months ago at the hands of David Devlin, the elite in Cancel Culture Wrestling? And he is right. But we've seen Strange take on people before that caused him pain, that beat him up, and then less than a few weeks later, all of a sudden, we're hugging him, telling him how good he was, and helping him.
Let me ask you, though, a question, and this has been one, I guess, feather in the cap, or I don't even know what you want to call it, but why did you do what you did, though, at Survive to Thrive 3?
Yeah, pretty simple. I told the board I had no interest in that match. I told the board I don't want to be in that match. Give me another match. Let the young talent shine in that match. And they said, no, Jam, this is your match. This is the match you're going to be in. I said, okay. You want me to take part in that match? That is fine. Yeah, I had my issues with Strange. I apparently cost him the heavyweight championship, but a few weeks earlier. But again, I think I'd done him a favor. I'd done CCW a favor because I know that Strange has got something sinister planned for CCW. And I protected CCW from allowing that championship to land in Strange's hands. I stopped it. And I was happy when it came to this match right here to take a step back, let the young wrestlers shine, and myself and Strange would deal with our issues at our later date when this championship, this big heavy championship, would be on the line. Now, Strange couldn't do that. Strange kept on making it about himself. He kept on saying things that I didn't appreciate. Then the Brevs started joining in and saying that Strange was going to beat me up, saying that Strange was going to take my championship, this and that and that. And by the time that Survive to Thrive came around, I snapped. I changed my mindset. I thought, screw the young talent of today. I've tried to do what's best for them, and they're just laughing at me. They're telling me that Strange is going to beat me up.
Saying, Champ, you're a veteran. You're a locker room leader. And if the young talent, they're not taking your advice, they're not heeding what you're saying. So at this point, you're like, well, you have to send your own message pretty much.
Yeah, and I did exactly that when I took out Beelzebub. I told them I didn't want Jakob as a partner. And when I found out Sofrena wasn't going to be in the match, I told the board, put Jakob in with Sam Taylor. They would be
in it. Yep, I heard you talk about that. Yep.
They'd been a credible tag team, and they weren't winning the thing, you know. And again, I didn't want to cause harm to Sam Taylor. I like the guy. This guy's wrestling up and down the UK every day of the week. He's traveling. He's doing a lot of things that people in CCW might not know. I don't want to hurt Jakob. Jakob is a good kid and a bright future ahead of him. You put him in against me, I'd kill him without even meaning to do it. I'm sorry, but I would. So I was
I agree. No. I listen. I know you a long time. I agree.
And so I don't want to hurt the kid. So I wound up against in this match. Walker acts a big one, calling me out, calling me names. Walker's yet to thank me because I tagged, when he and I were in together, I tagged in Hybrid so he could get his hands on Hybrid so he can avenge what he said about his dad. But apparently that wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough.
I was going to ask you about that as we're here with the CCW Carnage Hardcore Champion, the Vigilante. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally. We're all wrestling matters. If you're here right now, I continue to put up the link in the comments. Please go sub to CCW's YouTube page. They're over 500 subscribers. Let's get them to 1,000. You support me, I'll support you. So if you're here watching this from stateside or anybody else that's usually here on Sportswire, all you have to do is hit a sub for CCW, and I'll get to the chat here in a few minutes. Let me ask you, though, with Walker, do you have an issue with Walker, or is this strictly with Strange?
Strictly with Strange. I think Walker's nothing more than a big dope who's going along with everything Strange says. You know what? I had a lot of respect, and still do have a lot of respect for Walker's father. The thing that bothered me about Walker was after what Hybrid said, what he said, rather than just getting straight to the point, I'm going to tear him apart. Walker went into this match and he was happy to play by the rules. Then he put out a 7-minute video of himself ranting and rambling, making little to no sense, talking about his issues, history with Hybrid. What was the point in that? What a waste of time. Someone has said that about my dad. My dad's not in the best of health these days. But if anyone had said that about my dad, I would have told them a new one. So I gave Walker a chance. I tagged him in. I could have beaten up Hybrid and got revenge on Hybrid for what he did to my hair. But I'll wait another day for that. What Hybrid done to Walker or said about Walker was worse than what happened to my hair. It was worse than leaving me in there. I can accept that. And I'm on Walker's side for this one. And I gave him the chance. What did that big dope do? He's that so much far up Strange's backside, he decides to start making threats to me, saying things to me. And I put Walker in his place when I told him straight. I says, congratulations, I tried to do something nice for you, and this is how you act. Disgraceful.
Well, you know what? There's certainly a lot that's going to unfold here coming up this Saturday, and it's going to be a Home Alone hardcore match, and it's going to involve our champion against Strange. It has been a year in the making. It comes to an end here this Saturday. Wesley Sports Bar sold out once again. We'll put the poster up. We'll talk about the match. We'll talk about what Strange has said about being a Grand Slam winner. But it's time to get to you. I got a lot of people here in the chat. And if you're here right now, I just put into the chat once again the CCW YouTube page. Do me a favor. If you're here for the first time, all you have to do is hit a sub for CCW. They're always here, and they're our longest tenured wrestling company that's been coming here. They've been coming here for over 3 years. So if you are believing in what this platform is, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for CCW. So do me a favor. Go out there. I don't know who's here and who's not, but just hit a sub button. And if you have your friends go hit the sub. The DJB here wants to say, right, let's see what the big bald oaf has to say tonight. He did say hello, but we'll come back to him.
Bro.
Hello, Zilla. I saw was in your chat a little bit. I think Zilla was watching that. Zilla was here. Although she did have a few things to say about Spawn, but I'll leave that for a different date. Spawn will be here, though, Friday night. I'm sure you'll have different things to do. I'm sure you won't be tuning into that one, but you'll be getting ready to have a Home Alone hardcore match. But nevertheless, Spawn is back on Sportswire Friday night, but that's a different show for
I'll be washing my hair that night.
Oh, well, duly noted. Mr. R.I. to the CO is here, and he's got a rematch for those tag team championships. We'll move on. I could see you wanted to move on. Yeah. Oh, he meant to say Rico. Okay. Thank you, Zilla. Appreciate that. Obviously, you could see what side DJB is on, right?
Of course, brainwashed as always. This is what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm saying.
And speaking of which, Selfrina, who you were speaking with on her show, Winds of Change, she's here and says, for the Brev badge. So why do you think then, Selfrina, who's the 24/7 OK champion, why do you think her and others have been so brainwashed by Strange? Why do you think it's just been something where they don't want to talk about the video that you posted the other day? Why do you think that it's something that they're avoiding?
They don't want to believe what their eyes see. You know what? There's people in this world, and pro wrestling is full of them, people that would rather live in absolute ignorance and just pretend that the truth isn't in front of their face because they can't handle it. They would rather pretend everything's all good and there's nothing wrong with certain people. And then with other people, they'd happily throw them under the bus. They would happily try to ruin their lives, ruin their career, do whatever. Oh, they're a bad person. Screw them, blah, blah, blah. And then when something comes up about the people they like, hands in the ears, hands in the face, hands in the mouth.
All right, fair enough. Yep, hello. My friend, Mr. Justin Parsley, watching this stateside from Indiana, would like to say hello. He has a comment you'll probably agree with, though, in a few minutes. That's why I'm giving him a pass. So you'll actually get your one comment so far of others that maybe agree with you. I know the Brev Army is here from Brian. I know Brian's obviously not Team Vigilante, but we'll get to that. Brev, I see it's Brev Army Day. Brev Army. Brev Army with 2 Y's, and one own Arctic, a Brev Army. Who else we got? Non-Brev Army, Brev Army, Brev Army, Brev Army. I put the link up to the CCW YouTube page, but Dagan, aka Strange, is here, and you knew he had to get something in. This match is in Jam's domain, and I initially should be the underdog as the Vigilante. I'll fix it for you. As the Vigilante is a hardcore legend of the game, but man, this man threatened my family and my Brevs. I'm taking you to hell with me. You know, we were talking about this with Selfrina, where you in the prior Winds of Change show, you came on and you had talked with Selfrina, and you mentioned obviously Lilith, and there was some other things there that did seem a bit personal. I mean, did you take it to that level, or is everybody imagining something?
No, they're right. I took it to that level, but no one's asked why. Why did Jan take it to this personal level with Strange? Well, it's pretty simple. Strange, after I beat the absolute hell out of Beelzebub, and then I cracked Strange with this championship, and it's nice and heavy, and it's like the sound it made when it hit Strange in the head was like dunk. It was just wonderful. I wish I could change my phone ringtone to that noise. Donk. But anyway, Strange made a comment that really hurt me when he says Jam turned his back on the CCW fans. How? How did I turn my back on the CCW fans? That night when I came to the ring, there were still fans that were putting their hands out. They wanted fist bumps. They wanted high fives. I gave them the high fives. I gave them their fist bumps. My issue wasn't with them. Oh, that's right. Because I attacked Strange. Because I attacked him. The ego on that man, that must mean that, oh, well, because I've attacked him, I've turned my back on the fans. I've not turned my back on the fans. I've turned my back on the Brevs. Why did I turn my back on the Brevs? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because they were the ones saying the stupid comments about how Strange is going to take my championship. Strange is going to beat me up, blah, blah, blah. And that is ludicrous itself. Come on.
No, I think that's why I asked you, had you changed at the beginning of the show? And you answered it, and we'll have to see what happens. My friend, Mr. Andrew Lovelace from the Pennsylvania Independent Wrestling Circuit, who is obviously going to be in action in January, is here now. He'll be back on the platform. We'd like to say hello, and I want to give Andrew my thoughts and prayers. I know his mother, I think, had heart surgery, so I want to say hope that she's doing well, and hope that if he's here watching, we definitely want to break for a second and give our thoughts and prayers. Glad she's recovering. Yep. So thank you for your support. Andrew will be here in the middle of January, so somewhere around then. So thank you for that. Yep. And
all the best, your mother.
Yep, definitely. Strange, though, wants to say it wasn't him with the video with Karen canceled.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he wants to say. He also wants to say that you're twisting words. That's what he would like to
You were the one twisting it. You were the one that said, I turned my back on the fans when I never. I turned my back on you. Yeah. The Brevs turned their back on me because they were supporting you. That's their fault. Never once did I say anything bad about the CCW fans until recently. After your daughter disrespected me on the Winds of Change last week, yeah, I may have crossed the line, but I don't care. I've been at this for 20 years. A wolf doesn't care about the opinion of sheep, and a veteran like myself doesn't care about the opinion of toddlers.
Okay, well, he goes further. Strange would like to say, at Carnage, I was there with you to aid Walker and Rumble in the Underground. I was unconscious backstage. What could I have done? That's his words.
Unconscious. Very good. I've seen the footage. You were helped backstage. You were walking on your own 2 feet. Were you pulled out on a stretcher? No. You were walking. Okay, I'll give it. You might have been knocked a bit silly. You might not have been in the best way. But you unconscious? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay. Let me say hello to my friend, Mr. James Taylor. The Nemesis James Taylor is saying hello. He is tuned in. Okay. Let's thank you for that. James is enjoying the conversation. And Strange goes further. I turned down the hand of cancel culture and stood by your side.
You did, but again, this could be an absolute trick, and that's what it seems to be to me. You turned them down, you joined my side. Oh yeah, what happened after you turned cancel culture down? You attacked me from behind, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Good guy, Strange.
What would you say, though, when you gave him the opportunity to attack you and he tagged Walker in? Well, what's your thoughts on that?
Good on you, Strange. You proved to everyone that you're the good guy. You proved that I'm the bad guy. No, you're scared because you knew for a fact, even if you attacked me from behind, your feeble strikes would have done nothing, and I would have turned around, knocked you out with one punch, one forearm, one club, whatever, and you would have been in trouble, and you would have been exposed. So you thought, nah, let's get Walker in. And don't get me wrong, Walker gave me an absolute clobbering. I wasn't interested in Walker. Wasn't interested in the slightest.
You don't have the history. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah. I was just like, I couldn't care less about Walker. I couldn't care less about anyone else in that match. The only reason I got in with Shanks was because he really, really, really annoyed me. And he's still annoying me. And the chance I get...
Watching Shaq's on Sofrina's show just before, I would definitely say that That was let's just say don't try this at home, or don't if you when you watch it, just you'll see what I'm saying. But we'll move on. Mr.
Shax
Price,
is the poster boy for birth control.
I'm gonna leave that at that, but I understand the point. But I will tell you, somebody that understands your point is Justin Parsley, the PWF champion, and he would like to say, "Amen." I wasn't much of a faction guy myself. I was sort of left with a slim pickings of loose alliances and acquaintances. There you have it. There is
There
somebody
we
out
go.
there that seems to agree with you, a fellow wrestler that does that. Speaking of fellow wrestlers that would most certainly agree with you, my very good buddy, Mr. Silas Walker, another person from the great state of Pennsylvania. Let me give Silas a nice little plug because he's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So, Silas is tuned in. He's definitely somebody that would most certainly agree with what you have to say. I have no doubt about that. So, Silas is here, and he's got always a lot to say. He's the DBW Global Champion out there, and also, let me give him a plug because he's literally almost at 1,000 subs. So let me put his YouTube link up. I'm going to put his photo up for the audience because there's always somebody out there. So we always love connecting people. So here you go. I think Silas is in the DBW, the CCW group, but that's his page. You want to check him out. You can see, you probably get along with this guy. You'd probably get along with him.
I'll go and find his page after this, and I'll subscribe. Silas, you've got a subscriber. As long as he's not related, as long as he's not related to Walker of Wall Street, then I'll
he's
happily
definitely
subscribe.
not related to Walker Wall Street. I could put my life on that. I could,
That's right.
knowing how Silas is and knowing Walker, I've known Walker longer than Silas. I know I will put my life on it that Silas is not related to Walker. So I will.
Well, we've got a subscriber in me.
Well, that's his link. You want to go sub to him. He's close to 1,000 subs. Let me get to some more chats because you got some more comments, but some of them you may not like. I got this opportunity because you smashed him with the Carnage Championship, which I just mentioned. But
he's not wrong.
Well, but is that sufficient grounds, though? Is that sufficient grounds for a title shot?
No, it's not. But you know what? I was actually fine to give him this title shot based on that because maybe I should be honest with you, Tom, because I'm not the bad guy everyone makes me out to be. See, one of the reasons Strange was so upset with me before Miners Mania was because I wound up losing this championship, and the reason I lost this championship was because I wasn't focused. See, he really, really wanted a shot at this championship. He really did, and he was really upset, and that's why I
get to that. Yeah, he said a lot about that here, and the legacy of what that would mean to his career, and I'm gonna get to that in a few minutes because I think that's where this is all gonna come to a head here. Cancel culture has caused me and Walker a lot of harm. Why would I join them?
Again, as I said earlier, he has teamed up with people who have caused him harm in the past, and because it's benefited him. What's to stop him from doing it again?
I think some of the things you said would certainly back to that, and there you go. We got one. There you go. Silas subscribed to CCW's page, and that took care of him. There you go. And Andrew just subscribed. There you go. See, it's the holiday spirit. I'm in the holiday spirit. I don't know if you are, Mr. Vigilante, but I'm going to try to stay off your bad side and come up here and say this. I think from what it took to the Vigilante to keep me down, he had to change his ways. Now he's a Vigilante and doesn't like anybody. It's really bizarre when I see you and the Elite sort of not hating each other. I mean, this is kind of like, are we in the holiday spirit, or this is?
Oh no, I still hate Rico. You know what, Rico, actually, he's right in one sense, wrong in another. He is right because, yes, I did have to tape him to the ground, but as I said before, that's just because we were in that environment where I couldn't do what I wanted to do to Rico. There's plenty of ways I could have got Rico to stay down for the 10 count. I just thought, well, this is not the right place. A charity show for autism. It's not really the right place to do what I'd really like to do to Rico. But hey, Rico, we meet again at Carnage, and I will happily take you on in a last man standing match, and I'll keep you down, and I won't even need to use tape.
Although I think right now he's got his hands full with trying to reclaim his tag team championships because he already invoked the rematch clause, and I think that that's where he's got his hands full. So I don't think you'll have to worry about him.
Yeah, he
Rigo,
might not. He might not survive the match.
yeah, I think that's a fair point. Let me say hello to Mr. Loveless again. He just subscribed. Let me give a shout out to my very good buddy who I just watched some of the things he was doing on his YouTube channel, and he's close to 1,000 subscribers. So let me give him a nice little plug because I know he's here and he is always here all the time. My good buddy, Mr. Darkron, who's got 961 subscribers. I know how painful it is to get to 1,000 subscribers. I know how much it takes to get there. He's 39 subscribers away. That's his YouTube channel. You want to give him a sub. Check him out. He's actually doing commentary on some of his previous matches. He's breaking them down, and he certainly does a better job at doing that than when I'm here on Sportswire Radio and going back and forth and analyzing these things. And give him a sub. He's a good man. He's recovering from an injury. Mr. Darkron, it's the holiday spirit. Your YouTube channel is up here. So if you're here, I put it up in the comments. Give him a sub. He's 39 subscribers away from 1,000. And just do that. And Merry Christmas and ho, ho, ho. But thank you, Mr. Kron. And subscribe to CTW's page. Mr. OK is here. Are you okay with Mr. OK right now?
I think everyone's okay with Mr. OK.
I know
that's,
that. Yes.
That's right.
Mr. OK comments at like 3:00 in the morning. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't worry, I'm okay." But Rico, he toyed with you. Don't act the big lad here. So he's telling.
He's right. Listen to him. And this is the first time he's told the truth since he's got here. Congratulations.
Well, we're gonna see if he does that in a few minutes when I get to the Home Alone hardcore match. Hello there. Hello. We're exchanging hellos. Hello. Yep. Good to see you. I know you have an opinion on this. No. Okay. We're good with comments. Okay. You know what? We're all good with that. So I want to now transition to the end of the show here for what I think is going to certainly change your career and certainly Strange's career coming up here in this Home Alone hardcore match. So I'm going to ask you generally. Have you been in a Home Alone hardcore match before?
I've not been in a Home Alone hardcore match. I've been in several Christmas Carnage, Christmas Chaos matches. I assume they're very similar, but to be perfectly honest with you, the word hardcore's in there. It's not going to be an issue for me. I'm happy to take part in any kind of match that says the word hardcore in it, especially when I get to save CCW from this evil, sadistic cult leader.
You know, I had mentioned this with Sylphrina, and I spoke a little bit about this with Strange. This would seem from afar that you would have the edge here. This is your style. You've been known for this over the years. This is not something that Strange does often. So do you feel that you have the upper hand here in this?
So this year, Strange, don't get me wrong, he got the better of me in the first two falls at Miners Mania. He got himself disqualified, straight away set up a table and threw me through the table in the second fall. So we were at a fall apiece. And he's tough. He's very tough. He's really, really, really tough, but I still beat him. Then we had we took part in the death match, the rematch. I beat him in that. Over in Scotland, we took part in the Battle of Burnbank, which is Alba Championship Wrestling, a massive tag team Royal Rumble match where the ACW Alba Tag Team Championship was on the line, and me and Craig Forsyth won it. Who were the last two people in the ring? Yes, my brother, the very good Mr. Eugene Mackey, and Strange. But guess what? We beat him. In the rematch, we had a Bells Hill Brawl, a tag team tornado street fight in Bells Hill for the tag championships. And again, myself and Craig Forsyth beat Strange and Mackey. So, when it comes to these weapons matches with Strange, I'm pretty confident.
And you should be, because in these type of matches, you tend to have had the upper hand on him And it seems like right now you're in his head and all these different things that have gone on. And I kind of think right now that this match has been turned upside down because of that video, which had the allegations about Karen Cancel and Strange. And I think that that does play a factor into this because it's now gotten personal to the point that will Strange be distracted by all that? Was that part you think of in a way without even knowing it, your strategy to basically get so much into his head now that he's going to be now focused on just getting his hands on you and rather than trying to accomplish what I'll get to next?
Strange is thinking about getting his hands on me. He's talking about this and that and that. And it's embarrassing. As far as that video goes, I didn't want to put that video out there. I wanted him to come clean. I wanted him to tell all of his followers, tell the fans what's going on. He chose not to. I gave him plenty of time. So I had no choice but to put that video out there. Now, here's something for you. I spoke to CCW management. Here's an exclusive. And I asked, when's the next Carnage show? They said they didn't know. As of right now, there's no more Carnage shows booked out there. None that have been scheduled. Now, does Strange maybe get what he wanted? Does Strange maybe help out there? Is the reason why there's been no Carnage shows announced because Strange got what he wanted?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Where's the Carnage event, Strange? You say, oh, but Karen done this, Karen done that. Yeah, well, Karen's apparently known me for years. I don't know who this person is, but they claim apparently I ruined their wrestling career. And they claim that apparently they are willing to do whatever it takes to get the revenge on me.
So it sounds like to me that you're the Carnage Hardcore Champion. You're the face of Carnage Wrestling, Carnage Championship Wrestling, but yet no future shows?
No future shows as of yet. Now, surely, I know there's all the Colliery shows have been booked out. I've seen some of them have even been advertised. Taylor's saying about all these coming out shows that are apparently planned. He said there's dates sorted and stuff. There's one announced this week for coming out Championship Wrestling. And so far, nothing.
And we know Fighter Strike is at the end of January. We know about Zach Knight being there already. So we know that CCW shows itself are being advertised. But you mean to tell me that there's no Carnage Championship Wrestling shows upcoming?
No, I've asked, and that's made me wonder, is maybe this because Karen and Strange managed to work something out? Now folk would think, well, what's Strange's issue with you, Jam? Why would Strange go to these levels to put you through all these issues? Who was the one that beat Strange at Miners Mania for the Underground Heavyweight Championship, ending the apparent greatest Underground Championship reign?
I had him here when he was the champion. We spoke about previous champions, and there was one champion that didn't even get on the poster. There were other champions that had the title, and then all of a sudden were run out of town because they couldn't cut the mustard here, and other champions that, I mean, don't even bring them up because they were just such an embarrassment to what CCW had. But yet you're the guy that ended the supposed greatest run in history. This run that we talked about even in all across this country was supposed to have been the greatest run, the most dominant run, the most ruthless run. And you were the guy. So it seems to me from what you're telling me throughout this past year, and especially this past several months, it all comes down to you and everything that when you do something, it's not what maybe the powers that be want, and you get punished and you get you're the one that's holding the bag. That's what it sounds like to me from what you're telling me tonight. What you're telling me tonight, that's what it sounds like.
That's it. That's exactly it. It doesn't matter what work environment you go in. If you go into a toxic work environment and you stir things up and you point out the negatives, you point out these issues, you become a marked man. And people start to look down on you. People don't want to associate with you. And people make your life difficult. Doesn't matter if you work in a supermarket, fast food restaurant, an office. You do that.
you're the definition of a vigilante. You know that you're a
Yeah.
marked man, and you're right now fighting for. You basically talked about it in that video. You're fighting for your life right now. You're fighting for survival. You represent a championship and a man that Mr. Carnage, who meant so much to us. Mr. Carnage is in our Hall of Fame, and Mr. Carnage is somebody that he's really responsible for what CCW is, and you're fighting for his legacy. You're the one that holds that championship. So really, to the fact that you're the champion and you don't get a chance to represent that legacy, it shows. I mean, that's got to hurt you a lot there. And that's kind of why you're a vigilante. Maybe you're representing Mr. Carnage and everything he had to offer. Maybe you're the guy that's fighting for him rather than what Strange would.
Now, you see, the thing is, it's funny you should bring that up because, unfortunately, I never got to meet the great man
I remember
himself
we
face to
spoke about that
face.
here on and off the air. But ironically enough, you seem
Yeah.
to be the guy that's fighting more for him than a man that knew him from the very beginnings. That's
See, I made
sad.
I made a promise to some people, and some people that I know I probably shouldn't bring this up because they're no longer with CCW.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I stick to my promises, and I made a promise that I was going to bring prestige and legacy to this championship. And you know what? When it comes to all the previous champions, I may not have held this championship the longest, but I have had the most championship defenses with this championship. I have been involved in more Carnage Hardcore Championship matches, either as a challenger or the champion, than anyone else in the roster.
You're a
I
fighting
have
champion.
defended this championship in 3 different promotions, and I'm not talking about the 3 CCW promotions. I'm talking about other promotions in Scotland and in England. This belt I can't show you just now because it's too dark. Inside this belt, in the inner strap, my blood stains all the way down the back of it. I am living up to my words, my promise of bringing prestige to this championship. Whereas Strange, on the other hand, any chance he's had a go at this championship, he's failed. And I think if it came down to taking part in some of the brutal matches that you have to take part in to defend this championship, I think Strange would crumble. He might get away with a Home Alone hardcore match, but you put in him there in Carnage, you put him against the likes of Chris Onyx, Tom Carr Blizzard. How's Strange going to fare? That's what I want to know. Whereas if you put me...
It's funny you said that as we are here with the Carnage Hardcore Champion, the Vigilante, here for about 15 or 20 more minutes. And of course, CCW, please go out there and sub to their YouTube channel, CCW UK Northeast. We will have more CCW coverage here Friday night around 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time with the one and only Spawn. Spawn will talk about his match with Persona for the Light and the Dark Championship. But for now, we're here with the Carnage Hardcore Champion, and my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have voiced figuratively, and literally we're all wrestling matches. But you know, it's funny you talk about all these things because it all, as always, comes down to you and also for the legacy of Strange. Because as you're well aware of by now, Strange has talked about the fact if he defeats you this Saturday in that Home Alone hardcore match, that he will become a Grand Slam champion. You're the only thing in the way right now of him stopping him getting to history. You're the thing that's stopping him from having that opportunity to join a select few, not just in CCW, but anywhere in wrestling, of being a Grand Slam champion. And you tell me why you're going to stop him, let alone from the personal stuff that's gotten into now, let alone this 1-year feud, let alone what's happened now with the video with Karen Cancel and Strange, the allegations there. But now to the fact you get the opportunity, if you stop him, you deny him of becoming a Grand Slam champion.
Oh, it all comes back to Jam, doesn't it? I get to deny him of becoming a Grand Slam champion because you know what? He wants to become a Grand Slam champion, but why does he want to become a Grand Slam champion? He claims it's for all the Brevs, it's for all the Brevs, but he has said it himself that he wants to become a Grand Slam champion to help him become a legend here in CCW. Now, again, I call myself a vet. I've been called a veteran by all these other people throughout my career, and I appreciate that. And I do appreciate it when fans and people tell me about being a veteran. But I've never once called myself a legend, and I never will call myself a legend. Doesn't matter if I wrestle for another 20 years on the independent scene. I have friends that have went to WWE. I have friends that are still at WWE.
Nikki Cross, you've mentioned here many times on this platform.
Yeah, you know what? She's been there. Big Damo, Killian Dane, who's wrestling all up and down all over the world these days. You know what? So how can me, despite me being around for as long as I have, despite me being a permanent part of the British scene for over 20 years now, how can I look at those people? What about my coaches? Robbie Brookside. Robbie Brookside is a legend of the British scene.
Dean Allmark talked about it when I interviewed Dean Allmark. Absolutely.
I would consider Dean Allmark a legend of the British scene personally, not me.
100%.
Now, Strange, on the other hand, seems to think that he should get legend status in CCW. Now, that doesn't sound like someone that's doing it for other people. That sounds like someone that's doing it for himself to feed his own
ego, then, right? Would that be the definition of ego?
I would say so. So
this Grand Slam championship, or being a Grand Slam holder of all the belts in CCW, it's really not about the Brevs. It's about Strange, because, I mean, the Brevs can't be Grand Slam winners, right?
No, but they're all going to act like they are because Strange has convinced them that if he wins, they all win. And that's what they all think. They're all living through him because, let's face it, a lot of the Brevs out there are never going to accomplish anything in their lives. They're lazy, they're out of shape, they're uneducated. They are living through Strange.
They're followers, then, right?
Yeah.
Followers.
Yeah, they're nothing but followers. I could have been a follower over 20 years ago. I could have just turned up and latched on to someone in the business. But see, if you tried to do that 20 years ago, you would get your arse kicked and you'd be sent out the door. You'd be banned from entering the business. But the business changed. We've opened up the doors, and that's why these Brevs can come in here and they can hang about with Strange and they can live through him. But let's face it, what's really going to happen? It's not going to be a case of them living their dreams through Strange. What's going to happen is Strange is going to take me on, and I know I'm in for a fight. Again, I've never once said that it's going to be easy for me, but they seem to think that it's going to be easy for Strange to beat me. Someone like me, who's been in the ring face to face with the likes of Tommy Dreamer, been in the ring with the like.
You punched him right in the face. I mean, you
punched Tommy Dreamer right in the face, and I like Tommy Dreamer. I respected Tommy Dreamer. I still do, but he disrespected me on that night, and I punched him to the point where he landed on his arse. Why do people think that if I would punch Tommy Dreamer in the face, why would I be intimidated or Strange? I have sat there in locker rooms with the likes of Sabu, Rhino, Raven. I've been in the locker rooms with these intimidating figures in this business. I've been in the ring with people like Jack Gallagher, that was in WWE. I have been in the ring with Joe Hendry. I have been in the ring with Zack Sabre Jr. You know what? I don't mind telling you, I got my arse kicked by most of these people, but I stood my ground and I went face to face with it.
Blaze was here last year. You weren't intimidated by Davey Blaze. You were hanging out with him, taking pictures with him, and most people would be like, Davey Blaze, don't even go near him. No, you weren't at all intimidated by Davey Blaze.
Davey Blaze doesn't intimidate me because I remember when Davey Blaze was a tiny wee boy. Yeah. I remember when he was a skinny wee boy. Tom, I'll send you a wee picture.
Kevin Nash and getting thrown around like a twig. Yep, I sure.
Yeah, I'll send you a wee picture later on of a very young Davey Blaze and a youngish Jam from an early
I think I've
ICW
seen it.
show.
Davey sent me some things, so I got the
Yeah,
picture.
you might have seen it, but I'll send that at some point as well, just
Yeah.
in case. But yeah, so if I've squared up to these people, I have been in the ring with some of these people. I have been in matches with people, world of sport veterans, WWE Hall of Famers. Now, if I'm happy to step in the ring with people like that and square up to them, why am I intimidated of Strange? Strange is tough. I am in for a tough fight, but I am not intimidated and I'm not worried in the slightest. As I said before, they think it's going to be an easy night. They're going to live vicariously, through Strange. That is not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is I'm going to beat Strange. He'll put up a fight, but I'm still going to beat him. I'm going to remain Carnage Hardcore Champion. Sorry, you've got a point.
Let me ask you a few points, few more final points on that, because there's no question that you've obviously made some strong points tonight. I think that there's no question we all want to go to CCW's YouTube page, go and get more information, join the Facebook. Instagram has gotten hot recently. I'll put the Instagram link up here. But let me ask you then, if you had any final words for Strange, what would they be?
Well, Strange. Again, you and the Brevs seem to think this is going to be a walk in the park. You are going to be hurt. And if you want to get anywhere near this championship, you are going to have to go to a place much darker than you've ever been. You talk about being from the underworld. What a load of crap. I'm from the streets of Glasgow. People in hell are scared of the streets of Glasgow. I can tell you that much. But what's really going to happen, Strange, is, again, you're not going to become Grand Slam champion. You're going to let the Brevs down. Not only are you going to let the Brevs down, and all your little friends and family and your useless kids, do you know who else you're going to let down? You're going to let down your granny, and you're also going to let down Mr. Carnage. He is going to be up in heaven, ashamed to have known you. He's going to be ashamed that you ever tried to take his legacy. I have done more for this championship, more for this man's legacy than you have ever done. And nothing's going to change that. And if you think I've maybe crossed the line before, if you think I've crossed the line tonight, just wait till Saturday when I cross that line again. There's always a gentleman's agreement of what you can and can't do at shows. Now, CCW may have had some issues with that before. But the way I see it is, once I've finished with you in that match, wants to stop me from dragging you backstage, wants to stop me from dragging you into a piss-soaked alley like when you left me, and we continue this. And I do to you what I would do to anyone on a Carnage show. Ask Alfie Nerds what I did to him last show. He had a sweary word imprinted in his back from thumbtacks that I stabbed into him. I stabbed him into his head. And I imagine if I was able to do that with more than just thumbtacks, Strange. Imagine. That's the reality. You disappoint. You let everyone down. You fail to carry this man's legacy like you hoped. And I take you out once and for all. And once I do that, all the Brevs will wake up and see that they were following a false idol. They will see that their demigod was nothing. And they will wake up and they will all walk over to me with their heads down and they will all say, Jam, we are sorry. They all better hope that I'm in a good mood that night.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not subscribed to CCW's YouTube page, Patreon page, and you don't have a ticket this Saturday, a Colory Christmas Carol 4 Home Alone hardcore match for the CCW Carnage Hardcore Championship between our guest, the reigning defending CCW Carnage Hardcore Champion, the Vigilante, and Strange, you certainly need to reevaluate and re-examine your plans. You are going to be missing out on maybe the war of the year in 2024 in independent British, UK wrestling, Scottish wrestling, you name it. It finally comes to an end here this Saturday. These two men's careers, I have no doubt, will be the same. They will never be the same after it. This is one you will not want to miss out. You have to go out there and buy a ticket. If you don't, just go to subscribe to CCW's YouTube page, Patreon page, Instagram. Let me get here to a few more final comments before I get the show closed out and let everybody go to their way. Here we go. Oh, I don't know why comments are not popping up. Okay, let me try it here. Nope, it's not letting me pop up. There we go. Okay, now it's finished. Strange will make you eat your words this Saturday when he defeats you for the title. You don't seem to be getting those words eaten.
Ryan, you should do yourself a favor and stop eating. There you go.
I know who Brian is. Let's stop that. Strange says you're finished, Jam. He also wanted to say that Mr. Carnage was part of my class in wrestling, and he has my utmost respect. I would never cancel a show that's named after my late brother. What goes back to the earlier allegations. How can I come clean about something that's not true? We're talking about the allegations that we've talked about throughout the evening. And this will probably be my last one because I did think it was kind of funny off the character. Will you have like Home Alone, like the toys, some of the weapons in the movie from there? Will there be some of, I mean, I know you can't spoil it. You may not even know, but I mean, I did kind of, I've been wondering about this for the past week or so. Will we see any references weapon wise from the movie or anything, or we have no idea yet?
Didn't someone get a nail right through the foot?
Yes. That was I think it was Marv who got that in the movie.
And an iron to the head.
Yes, I think that was Marv. I think he got the nail to the head and the iron and the iron left an imprint. So I mean, let's not spoil it for those going to the Wesley Sports Bar because it's going to be a sold out crowd. But I think that's obviously what I think some people, are kind of wondering. But I'm sure you'll tell us when we actually are there in the venue on Saturday, and then certainly when we watch it on the Patreon page, and we'll see some of that there. But I have no doubt it'll definitely be one for the ages, and we're very excited about it. And again, I think for me, this has been the feud in CCW over the past year. It's just been continuously, it's come to a head. I think that everything, was your story about winning the World Underground Championship. Everything that you were put through, by the way, from top tier in management to now where we are today, and just this whole now thing that you've put out there with the Elite and Karen Cancel and Strange, and now it's Strange trying to be a Grand Slam winner. Earlier this year, it was you trying to be the World Underground Champion, a world champion for the first time. It's also now seeing what's going with your family and how that's been involved. And it's just all come to an end. It is going to finally come to that end this Saturday. Colory Christmas Carol 4. Be there or be square. Also, a few more final comments. Once you stop thinking you're going to beat Strange, he'll lose some weight. And he also says, cherish that title while you can because you won't be holding it much longer. Well,
even if I, you know what, Brian? I could always lose this championship and I could always win it again. You losing weight? I don't think so.
Well, I'm going to leave the weight questions at that, but I'll tell you what, you've been generous enough with your time. I don't want to ask you any more questions. I don't want to be in the crosshairs. I don't want to join Strange and other Brev Army members who you have your sights set on, and I will pass the baton to you, and anything else you'd like to plug, share, or say, take it away.
Well, I think I've said just about everything other than there's one more thing I wanted to say, Tom, and I can't remember what it is. Oh wait, now I remember. Yeah, screw the Brevs.
Boy, did he save the biggest words for last? Did he save his best words for last? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, a Colory Christmas Carol 4. It is long anticipated. We have been talking about this here throughout the last several weeks. I can't wait for it. You can't wait for it. It's all coming out here this Saturday at a sold-out crowd. The doors open at 6 p.m. British Standard Time. If I were you and I have a ticket, I would be out there at 5 o'clock British Standard Time because it is going to be a packed house. They both want it. These two men have been on, let's just say, a hardcore collision course over the past year. It's literally both men have been in dumpsters. Both men have been chasing championships. Both men have certainly been going at it like there's no tomorrow, and it's going to take place at the Wesley Sports and Family Bar. Tickets are, get this, only £10. A family, £30. I just saw Gladiator 2. There's going to be more action here than in Gladiator 2. I just saw the Y2K movie. Just look up Y2K. You'll know what I'm talking about. And there'll be more action in this than in that movie. And guess what? You'll spend less pounds. That's why you've got to go out there and not only watch this, but a slew of other matches. It's going to be one for the ages. And as a reminder, we will be here Friday night with Spawn before his match with Persona for that Light in the Dark Championship. Trust me, you will not want to miss this. Follow CCW Instagram, CCW_UK. This is CCW's YouTube channel. Hit the sub button for them. We got 2 more subscribers tonight. I want to get 2 more tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever dates it might be. Just hit the sub button. DJB wants to say you're done, and Brian says Blev Army. But all that will come to an end this Saturday. It'll all come to an end then. And Champ, I wish you obviously all the best. I want to wish you and your family a very happy holiday. I have no doubt that we'll see you coming up here in 2025. A lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, and I'm sure we'll be packing some decorations that might be objects used in this match, but we'll let the audience see for itself. And thank you so much. It's been a great year with you and everybody in CCW, and I'll see you after the match, and best of luck out there.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
All right, that was the one and only Vigilante. He is the reigning, defending CCW Carnage Hardcore Champion. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. If you're on Sportswire Radio, again, I'll be here Friday night about 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time with Persona himself, just hours before his match for the Light in the Dark Championship with Spawn. Actually, Spawn's here, Persona. Check that out. Spawn's here, Persona. He'll be screwing off with. I've said it too many times, and I know the Vigilante's not going to be here for that. He's going to be getting ready to, let's just say, do some things to Strange. But as a reminder, Spawn will be here against Persona. But until then, go follow CCW and all their channels. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. And CC Dubs, CC Dubs, CC